Dapatkah langkah kecil di antara sunyi menuntun pada cita yang tak terbayangkan? Dari sebuah cermin yang memantulkan mimpi dari seorang anak yang tumbuh dan mulai mencari jalan hidupnya. Dunia yang dulu terasa jauh, kini ada di genggaman. Universitas terbuka hadir membuka jalan bagi siapa saja, dari mana saja, untuk terus belajar dan berkembang. UT menawarkan fakultas dan jurusan yang beragam untuk menjangkau segala minat dan potensi. Tak hanya itu, UT juga berkomitmen pada pelestarian lingkungan dengan menerapkan konsep Green University yang dilengkapi fasilitas ramah lingkungan. Ribuan mahasiswa tersebar di berbagai wilayah, dari Sabang sampai Merauke, bahkan hingga luar negeri. Ini membuktikan bahwa di UT, belajar bukan lagi soal tempat atau waktu, melainkan tentang kesempatan yang terbuka luas untuk semua orang. Di Universitas terbuka, teknologi bukan sekedar alat, tapi jembatan yang menghubungkan mimpi dengan kenyataan. Berbagai inovasi pembelajaran dihadirkan, mulai dari tutorial berbasis AI, siaran radio, UT-TV, hingga dunia virtual dan metaverse. Bahkan terdapat sistem ujian yang fleksibel dan inklusif. UT memastikan akses pendidikan menjangkau seluruh pelosok, dari kota hingga desa. Dosen dan tutor UT hadir melalui layar, suara, dan ruang digital. Dengan teknologi, menjangkau yang jauh, menguatkan yang ragu, membimbing setiap mahasiswa menuju ilmu tanpa batas waktu, tanpa jarak yang menghalangi. Universitas terbuka memiliki 775 dosen tetap yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia, serta memiliki 35 profesor dengan target peningkatan 2,5% per tahun. UT juga didukung oleh ribuan tutor aktif yang memfasilitasi pembelajaran. Setiap langkah kecil yang konsisten, lambat laun menjelma menjadi pencapaian besar. Universitas terbuka tak hanya tumbuh, tapi terus membuktikan kualitasnya. Prestasi demi prestasi diraih, penghargaan dan akreditasi menjadi bukti bahwa kualitas tak pernah diragukan dan komitmen terhadap pendidikan terus dijaga. Inovasi lahir bukan sekedar pembeda, namun sebagai jawaban atas kebutuhan belajar yang terus berkembang. Dari teknologi pembelajaran terkini hingga sistem yang lebih ramah dan inklusif, semua dirancang agar pendidikan dapat menjangkau ke semua lapisan. Terbukti, berbagai terobosan ini telah berhasil memperoleh sejumlah paten.
Pendidikan adalah kehidupan yang terus hidup. Mari kita jadikan ilmu sebagai bentuk eksistensi diri kita sebagai manusia yang terus ingin belajar. Semoga cita-cita kita semuanya untuk menjadi mahasiswa yang menempuh pendidikan di universitas terbuka ini akan lahir sebagai manusia-manusia yang hebat.
Harapan saya buat mahasiswa UT jangan pernah kecil hati dan jangan pernah patah semangat, dan mudah-mudahan membuat kita komit untuk bisa menyelesaikan perkuliahan di UT. Semangat terus!
Harapannya semoga universitas terbuka di era globalisasi ini dan juga di era digital tetap berkualitas dan tetap menjangkau yang tidak terjangkau. Pendidikan berkualitas di Indonesia terus merambah kemana-mana.
Di balik langkah kecil seorang anak, tersimpan mimpi yang begitu besar. Bukan tentang kemewahan, bukan tentang harta, tapi tentang ilmu, cahaya yang mampu mengubah masa depan.
Terkadang, ingatan membawa kita kembali ke awal. Ke masa saat dunia adalah taman bermain yang luas dengan penuh rasa ingin tahu. Dan lihatlah kini, semangat kegembiraan dan rasa ingin tahu itu telah mengantarkannya menjadi bagian dari sebuah perjalanan besar. Perjalanan yang ia jalani di Universitas Terbuka. Tempat impian dan potensi tak pernah berhenti bertumbuh.
Good afternoon, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu, greetings of virtue. Welcome to the public lecture of Masters of English Education, Universitas Terbuka. We hope you enjoyed the initial videos about Universitas Terbuka. Let's begin our journey of learning today with a touch of tradition. Here is a pantun to inspire and welcome us all. Walking in the garden, picking a flower. Its sweet fragrance grows every hour. Learning together gives us power. Cooperative learning in English language teaching helps skills truly flowers. My name is Febby Puspitasari, a postgraduate student in the English language education program here at Universitas Terbuka. And it is my pleasure to be your moderator for this afternoon session. Before we dive into today's topic, please allow me to share a few guidelines to help ensure a smooth and engaging session for everyone. First, if you're comfortable, please keep your camera on to help create a more engaging atmosphere. Second, kindly use the official virtual background link. The file is in the chat box. Third, to maintain audio clarity, keep your muted unless you are invited to speak. Fourth, questions are welcome. Use chat or the raise hand feature during the question and answer session. Fifth, at the end, a form link will be shared for your certificate. Please enter your full name and email correctly. Thank you for your cooperation with these guidelines. It is tremendous honor to have so many distinguished individuals joining us. We are especially privileged by the presence of the Director of Universitas Terbuka Postgraduate School, Professor Dr. Maman Rumanta MSI. Welcome, Professor. Your presence adds significant value to our event. We are also incredibly excited to welcome our esteemed speaker, Profesor Puji Astuti M.Pd Ph.D. from Universitas Negeri Semarang. Professor Puji Astuti, thank you for dedicating your time and expertise to be with us today. To begin our program and seek blessings for our session, let us take a moment to pray according to our respective beliefs. May this lecture be beneficial and insightful for all of us. Prayer commences. Prayer concluded. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a brief overview of our program for this afternoon. After this segment, we will respectfully listen to the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and the hymn Universitas Terbuka. Following that, we will have welcoming and opening remarks from the Director, Professor Dr. Maman Rumanta MSI. The core of our event will be the presentation of Professor Puji Astuti M.Pd Ph.D. followed by an interactive question and answer session. I will then provide a brief summary to wrap up the lecture. Now, we invite everyone to prepare themselves to respectfully listen to the national anthem Indonesia Raya and the hymn Universitas Terbuka. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, it is now my great honor to invite Profesor Dr. Maman Rumanta, MSI, the Director of Universitas Terbuka Postgraduate School, to deliver his welcoming and opening remarks. Profesor Maman Rumanta, the virtual floor is yours.
Oke, thank you. Suara saya kedengaran?
Terdengar, Pak.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Yang terhormat Profesor Puji Astuti, M.Pd, Ph.D, selaku narasumber kuliah umum dalam kegiatan siang hari ini menjelang sore, yang saya hormati para dosen, para Prodi dan staf akademik, serta seluruh mahasiswa program studi Magister Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris, serta hadirin yang berbahagia. Pertama-tama, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa. Karena pada hari ini, alhamdulillah, kita dapat berkumpul dalam acara yang sangat istimewa kali ini, yaitu Kuliah Umum Program Studi Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris, yang mana nantinya akan disampaikan oleh pembicara atau narasumber dengan judul ada topik Cooperative Learning and Teaching, dan saya kira topik ini sangat relevan bagi pendidikan kita di zaman ini, karena kita memerlukan pembelajaran kolaboratif yang meningkatkan keterlibatan siswa di dalam pembelajaran. Bapak sekalian, para mahasiswa dimanapun Bapak sekalian berada, kuliah umum bagi program di pasca sarjana merupakan bagian yang sangat penting di dalam memberikan bekal pada teman-teman, pada para mahasiswa, supaya lulusan UT itu punya punya kemampuan yang tidak kalah dengan perguruan tinggi tatap muka. Karena itu kami menyelenggarakan berbagai kegiatan. Salah satunya adalah kuliah umum. Selain itu tentu saja banyak kegiatan-kegiatan yang akan memberikan wawasan yang luas kepada teman-teman sekalian. Terutama kami ingin supaya teman-teman juga melek teknologi, gitu ya, teknologi digital terutama karena pembelajaran kita juga menggunakan format-format digital. Kemudian kami berharap nantinya ada kegiatan-kegiatan yang juga akan memperlancar studi sadara di Universitas Terbuka. Nah, kalau di program S1 itu ada yang namanya LPKBIDJ, di mana PKBG itu mulai dari OSMB, namun kemudian ada PKBG jadi pelatihan keterampilan belajar jarak jauh, kemudian ada workshop tugas dan klinik ujian, itu kalau di S2. Nah itu waktunya hampir serentak dengan ketika kita melakukan OSMB. Nah berbeda dengan program S1, kalau SD 2 itu PKBJJ dan OSMB itu sudah menyatu di satu kegiatan. Nah kita sebut OSMB dan teman-teman sudah melakukan itu dan tinggal, nah bagaimana PKBJJ waktu tugas dan klinik ujian ini akan secara bertahap kita berikan pada teman-teman mulai dari kuliah umum, kemudian nanti ada juga bengkel saintifik yang akan memberikan wawasan terkait dengan berbagai hal, termasuk bagaimana penggunaan AI, bagaimana menulis yang baik, bagaimana mengembangkan TATM dan lain-lain, itu akan dilakukan oleh kita semua. Jadi ini adalah salah satu layanan kita kepada teman-teman supaya satu yang pertama adalah teman-teman bisa mendapatkan wawasan yang luas terkait keilmuan maupun terkait teknologi. Yang kedua sebenarnya kita menginginkan teman-teman itu lulus tepat waktu. Ini yang paling diharapkan oleh kita, termasuk barangkali Anda sekalian gitu ya. Karena itu sekalian kami berharap kegiatan seperti ini dilakukan bukan hanya sekali, tapi oleh pemerintah nanti akan dilakukan berkali-kali, dan kita tidak hanya menyelesaikan kuliah umum dengan narasumber dari lokal gitu ya, seperti saat ini dari Universitas dalam negeri, tetapi juga nanti kita akan menyelenggarakan kuliah-kuliah umum dengan narasumber yang lebih luas secara internasional. Jadi sekali lagi kita menginginkan teman-teman memiliki wawasan yang lebih luas. Nah, kenapa kami memberikan hal yang sangat mungkin memberikan wawasan yang luas seperti ini? Karena kita sudah menjadi perguruan tinggi badan hukum, di mana ketika kita menjadi PTMBH maka pembelajaran dan layanan pembelajaran itu harus lebih baik lagi. Akreditasi itu harus lebih tinggi lagi gitu ya. Oleh karena itu kita sedang mengembangkan prodi-prodi supaya nantinya terakreditasi, semua terakreditasi unggul. Memang sampai saat ini baru 6 prodi dari 9 prodi yang sudah menghasilkan lulusan yang sudah akreditasi unggul. Sisanya insya Allah kita sedang menggarapnya. Mudah-mudahan semua nanti terakreditasi A dan unggul. Dan ini tentu saja diperlukan keterlibatan teman-teman sekalian, tidak hanya saya tetapi juga para mahasiswa itu wajib terlibat dalam kegiatan. Jadi itu saja saya kira. Mohon maaf teman-teman, saya juga di sini ada kegiatan lagi, dan itu sama supaya kita ingin juga meningkatkan mutu dari universitas terbuka. Oleh karena itu Bapak sekalian, sekali lagi ikuti kegiatan ini dengan baik, dan insya Allah dengan mengikuti kegiatan yang baik ini tentu saja akan membuat teman-teman mendapat ilmu yang baik dan universitas terbuka juga semakin berkembang. Oleh karena itu sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada narasumber yang telah hadir, Ibu Puji Astuti. Terima kasih Ibu, dan semoga saya yakin
Bapak, salam takzim.
Ya, terima kasih. Saya yakin Ibu Puji ini jauh-jauh gitu ya dari Semarang ya Bu ya.
Betul Prof, Semarang.
dari Semarang memberikan sesuatu yang tentu saja akan memberikan wawasan kepada kita semua, sehingga mudah-mudahan sekali lagi apa yang diberikan oleh Profesor Puji ini akan memberikan wawasan yang lebih luas kepada kita semua, dan saya yakin ilmunya sangat bermanfaat. Karena sekali lagi pembelajaran sekarang itu sangat diperlukan dengan cooperative learning ya. Baik, saya kira itu saja dari saya. Mohon teman-teman sekali lagi mengikuti acara ini dengan pertama dan sampai di tengah jalan sudah hilang gitu ya. Ikuti sampai tuntas sehingga manfaatnya sangat baik ya. Dan terima kasih sekali lagi kepada para Kaprodi yang sudah menyelenggarakan kegiatan ini, juga para panitia ya, juga mahasiswa, terima kasih dan selamat mengikuti kegiatan kuliah umum dengan baik gitu ya. Terima kasih, saya kira itu saja. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor, for your insightful remarks.
Okay.
Now, we have arrived at the main event we have all been waiting for. This lecture will be delivered for 45 minutes. I would like to inform you that the question and answer session may also be carried out during the explanation session from our speaker. If there are points that are not understood, or if you want to ask questions directly, you may use raise the hand icon after the lecture ends. Moreover, there will be a question and answer session at the end of it. You may also write your questions in the chat box or raise your hands if you want to ask questions. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today, Professor Puji Astuti, M.Pd, Ph.D. from Universitas Negeri Semarang. Professor Puji Astuti is a professor specializing in English language teaching.
Preparing myself a lot because English is not my first language. So I have to feel prepared for this performance. So students experience performing without preparation, and that unfavorable situation leads to the next. Students do not see each other as equal resources in their learning. So one unfavorable situation leads to another. That is, they don't see each other as equal resources in their learning. And this doesn't align with the spirit of CL, Ibu Bapak. The spirit of CL is that everyone contributes to others' learning. Ibu Bapak, perhaps you've been wondering what is cooperative learning actually? So my co-author and I came up with this definition. Cooperative learning is a group learning in which individual students' contribution through presentations or performances and interaction benefit not only for themselves, but also for their peers and the group's goals. The underlined part that you see, Ibu Bapak, that is individual students' contribution, is emphasized, and that what makes CL different from non-CL groups. So once again, individual students' contribution is what makes CL different from non-CL groups. So individual students' contribution is also named individual accountability. It is the key CL principle, and based on my research, I argue that when individual accountability occurs or manifests in learning, mewujud mengejawantah dalam pembelajaran, the other CL principles, as displayed here on this slide, positive interdependence, equal participation, and simultaneous interaction, they will occur and manifest as well. And the occurrence or the manifestation of these principles, they make cooperative learning work effectively. So if we miss one principle, especially the key principle that is individual accountability in our CL implementation, then our implementation might not be effective. Additionally, Ibu Bapak, if we define a democratic society as a society where citizens actively contribute to the attainment of common good, social, and ecological justice, we should initiate that from our classrooms. And CL can be an effective tool to achieve the creation of a democratic society. Ibu Bapak, ELT scholars, please allow me to spend a minute or two to talk about why I am in this area, the area of cooperative learning in ELT, why I study CL, why I do studies, research on CL, why I implement CL in my day-to-day teaching. I'm sharing this with a hope that it will give us a glimpse of our socio-cultural and our socio-historical context, the context of our schooling. So here's the story. Like most of you, like most of us, during my elementary school to undergrad program back in the 90s, I was mainly taught using teacher-centered instruction. I was required to sit still, be quiet, and listen to my English teachers and other subjects teachers. Duduk, diam, mendengarkan, begitu ya Ibu Bapak. Then in my master's program in the early 2000, I was introduced to cooperative learning. I was introduced to CL by an American educator named Tom Rong, and it was enlightening for me. I got to experience learning in student-centered setting. I learned through CL in the morning in my master's classes, and then I practiced CL in the afternoon until evening in my English classes at private language institution. So during my master's program, I engage in praxis, that is the process of applying learned knowledge and reflection into real-world action. I also engage in situated learning, that is learning that is inherently tied to real-world contexts and practices. So with CL in my pedagogical repertoire and practice, I have the agency to construct my professional identities as an academic, a researcher, and a teacher educator. And these days, I am studying how CL is a manifestation of indigenous or native epistemologies and pedagogies. That is why I use the Japanese proverb, urip iku urup. To live is to give light to others, to understand and describe the core mechanism of cooperative learning. In building our understanding of any phenomenon or solving any problem, we connect dots, right, Ibu Bapak? So let's connect CL to the approaches to ELT in Indonesia, namely active learning, or people also call it as student-oriented learning, deep learning, communicative language teaching, CLT, and genre-based approach, GBA. So these four approaches share a similarity in that they are all grounded in social constructivism, a theory from which CL is built upon. Social constructivism posits that knowledge is actively constructed through social interaction, participation, and mediation. Active learning, also termed student-oriented learning, is an approach to teaching employed by the emancipated curriculum Merdeka, and active learning is grounded in social constructivism. So, in other words, active learning or student-oriented learning operationalizes social constructivism. In light of social constructivism and active learning, classroom is a participatory community where students co-construct knowledge, and CL can accommodate the process. How about this one, the famous one these days, deep learning? Deep learning was launched by the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education last year. So deep learning is also established in social constructivism, established in this theory. So when teachers implement active learning, that means they implement deep learning. Through deep learning, students experience mindful, meaningful, and joyful learning. And trust me that CL can make that happen. Through CL, students will experience mindful, meaningful, and joyful learning. After active learning and deep learning, the two approaches to the teaching of all subjects, we will go specific by talking about the approaches to the teaching of language that are also grounded in social constructivism. The first one here, we have communicative language teaching, or CLT, that emphasizes students' engagement or students' involvement in their language learning activities. Existing studies demonstrate that the 4 dimensions of student engagement, social, behavioral, cognitive, social, and agentic dimension, they're all, these 4 dimensions of student engagement can be attained or can be achieved through CL. The last approach to the language teaching Okay, let me carry on. The last approach to language teaching adopted by Indonesian ELT is this one, as you can see, genre-based approach. I bet Ibu Bapak are familiar with its 4 stages: building knowledge of the field, modeling of text, joint construction of text, and independent construction of text. CL can be integrated in each of those 4 stages. So CL is flexible, very flexible, so that it can be integrated in executing each of the 4 stages of GBA. Ibu Bapak, this is the visual of what we have explored. I allow you to see what's displayed here for a minute or two before I move on. So with its principles or key concepts, social interaction, participation, and mediation, social constructivism is the umbrella theory of active learning, deep learning, communicative language teaching, and genre-based approach. And as you can see here, CL can be a vehicle or a tool to implement these 4 approaches. In our ELT context, their implementation is to optimize learning, that is helping learners to attain communicative competencies in English. So we come to agenda number 5, that is answering the very question of how CL operates in ELT. Okay, Ibu Bapak, let's do it. Let's start our exploration by focusing on the key principle of CL, that is individual accountability. We've talked about this a little bit earlier. So to guide our exploration, I have prepared these 3 yes or no questions. Number 1, are individual students required to make a public presentation or performance during their lesson? Question number 2, do they interact with each other after the presentation or after the performance? And question number 3, are they attentive to their peers' presentation or performance? So we can use these 3 questions to assess the quality of our CL implementation. And the answer for each question should be a yes, if we want to perform effective implementation. What I want you to do is to give me the evidence of each of your yes. And the evidence is in a video that I will play in a minute. So in this video, you will see CL implementation in a classroom of young learners. The two previous videos, they sat in high school classroom, high school English classroom. And right now, I bring you to a classroom of young learners. So you will see how the teacher uses one famous CL technique, namely think, pair, share. TPS. Please observe carefully and remember, Ibu Bapak, your job is to provide me the evidence for each of your yeses. 3 yeses.
Iris, my love, I have some news to tell you. I'm going to have a baby. Turn to your partner in 3, 2, 1.
Think, pair, share is a simple and quick and fun way for everyone to get a chance to talk.
If this is a new activity in your classroom, it's a good idea to practice with an easy question first.
Before we start with the story, Iris and Walter and Baby Rose, you're going to get a chance to do the think, pair, share with your partner. So remember how we've been talking. That's about...
Here are the steps to think, pair, share.
Talk to your partner.
First, you think about the question.
What is your favorite thing to do at school? When you know your answer, put your thumb on your knee. A.
Then you pair up with a partner. It's a good idea to repeat the question.
Favorite thing to do at school? Math. And remember, each person gets a turn. Recess and lunch.
Okay, so we thought about it. We talked to our partner. Who wants to share one thing?
Finally, you share out and talk about it as a whole class.
Armani?
Mine is food choice.
So my favorite thing to do is?
My favorite thing to do is food choice.
Okay, and eyes back on me. Nice job.
Now that you've practiced and you are ready to think, pair, share about what you're reading and learning about, make sure the teacher reads the question aloud
The first
first.
question you're going to be thinking about is, how does Iris feel about having a baby sister at the beginning of the story? I'm going to be a big sister, Iris shouted. We'll get to push the baby in a carriage. We'll feed it a bottle. It will be just like playing doll. I want you to think, how does Iris feel about having a baby sister? When you know, thumb on your knee. And remember, be specific. Tell me some exact things that happen in the book that let you know. Thumb on your knee when you have your answer. We're going to start with partner B this time. So turn in 3, 2, 1, knee to knee, eye to eye.
She feels happy because then they're going to be able to feel. And she is very, very happy because the baby is coming.
Okay, and come back to me and sparkles. Okay, hands back in your lap.
After talking with the partner, the whole class gets to share their thinking together.
How is Iris feeling about having a baby at the beginning of this story? Kivante, I heard you and Renal talking about it. Can you tell me in a nice loud voice?
She felt like she was really excited about the baby because she got to feed bottles to her.
So I love how I heard Kivante use a specific example from the book. She was excited. She's excited about feeding bottles.
See how easy it is to get everybody thinking about and sharing their ideas?
Okay. Ibu Bapak, that was the video. Now let me bring you back to these 3 questions. Are individual students required to make a public presentation or performance during the lesson? Do they interact with each other after the presentation or performance? And are they attentive to their peers' presentations or performance? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and then let's have a discussion, Ibu Bapak. So, who has the evidence for individual students' public presentation or performance? You can put your response in the chat box, or you can use your mic or your audio to share with me the evidence. Anyone? Right, let me put the questions in the chat box. Okay. I will send it to everyone. Okay, Bu Febby, can you see the question in the chat box? I'm checking if everyone can see that.
Oke, bisa Bu.
Okay, all right, great. All right, Ibu Bapak, adakah yang punya bukti that individual students are required to make a public presentation or performance? Di mana saat stage apa? Okay, thank you. Talisa Bafi, yes, they talk about their thoughts in front of their classmate. Thank you, Talisa Bafi. Saya tidak menggunakan ibu bapak, mohon maaf karena barangkali salah kalau saya sebut ibu ternyata bapak, saya sebut bapak ternyata ibu. So yeah, thank you, Talisa. Let's move on to the second question. There you go. The next question is in the chat box. Do they interact with each other after the presentation or performance? Again, you can drop your response in the chat box or use your mic to give the response right away. Oh yeah, they do. Okay, thank you for your responses. Nofrianto, Ratu, Dahlan Usman, Jero. Yes, they interact with each other by asking and responding to each other. Yes, thank you. Especially after they got the think time, right? So they think first and then they share. Okay, they share. And after the sharing, they interact with each other. So interaction is there in the use of think, pair, share. The last question. The last question is this one. It's in the chat box already. Are they attentive to their peers' presentation or performance? What's the evidence? How do they show their attention? Thank you for the responses. They show their attention by responding to their partner, by responding to their friend. Yes, thank you. Yes. I have follow-up questions. In Think Per Share, how many times do students do public performances? So this is a follow-up question. How many times do the students do public performances? Okay, let me put the question in the chat box. Okay. How many times? 3 times. Okay. Here's the question, but I see responses 3 times, 3 times. Okay. Why 3 times? Why 3 times? When they have new lesson, when they have a new question, perhaps, yeah. When they have new questions, so they get to perform again and again in front of their partner and to the whole class. So through Think, Pair, Share and other CL techniques, English learners get the opportunities to have meaningful interaction, to perform multiple times using the target language, and that is supportive of language acquisition and learning. Okay, Dahlan Usman, many times because they talk in front of their friends. Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, Ibu Bapak, for the rich discussion that we are having. Let me go back to the slides. All right. So this slide show us how CL's individual accountability comes to life in our classroom. When each student prepares for and completes a public performance, like during the share phase of TPS, it means that everyone has a clear role, and that encourages equal participation and builds positive interdependence. Each person's effort matters to the group. Please recall that equal participation and positive interdependence are the other CL principles. Between these performances, peer interaction allows students to exchange ideas and support one another, creating simultaneous interaction, which is another CL principle, where many students are actively engaged at once. We see in the last video that simultaneous interaction happens. Why? Because almost all of the students talk at the same time. So that is simultaneous interaction. More importantly, the first performance feeds into the second. So students rely on one another's contributions, reinforcing positive interdependence, and they build towards deeper shared understanding. We come to this question, Ibu Bapak, what do existing studies reveal about the benefits of cooperative learning for English learners? Collectively, previous researchers have revealed a long list of CL benefits. From the existing studies, we can synthesize that CL is an effective teaching method. Sudah ada ratusan bahkan ribuan penelitian yang menunjukkan bahwa CL is an effective teaching method. So what I display here is a list of CL benefits for English language learners, from fostering meaningful peer interaction to improved academic resilience. I am highlighting one of them here in yellow, which is based on my own study that involved high school students. My study demonstrates that when students work in their CL groups, they provide vocabulary help to each other. They provide vocabulary help to each other in the process of completing their learning tasks. One of my students participants say this during our interview for data collection purposes. My group members teach me English words. My group members teach me English words. So they want to see their peers succeed in their next performances by supplying them with the vocabulary needed. In other words, Ibu Bapak, they want to give light to others. CL creates that energy, giving light to others. So let's come to our exploration on the marriage of CL and technologies, other than AI in ELT. So perkawinan CL dan technology. So I conducted a meta study last year on the use of digital technologies in the implementation of cooperative learning for effective language teaching. One of my findings is that there is a limited or scant research on the use of technology. The use of technology that blends in the CL processes or in the occurrences of CL principles. What's available in the literature is descriptions of the use of technologies to accommodate online learning session through LMS, such as Canvas, that happens before CL session during in-person meeting, and how iPad is used for enhancing CL group's production of narrative text. So technology is utilized after CL processes. So in short, our ELT field needs studies that document the use of digital technologies during CL processes. We need that in our field to understand how technologies optimizes CL, making it more and more effective. So let's talk about CL and AI in ELT, Bu Bapak. Sejauh mata memandang, sejauh mata saya memandang, as far as the eye can see, there is a limited explicit research on CL and AI. Although both CL and AI are widely studied in ELT, much talked about these days, only a small number of studies explicitly bring the two together, CL and AI. So this suggests an exciting opportunity for us to explore how the two can be meaningfully integrated. AI can serve as a helpful scaffold before students perform individually, offering a safe space for private practice, and that allows them to build confidence, refine their language, and prepare more effectively before sharing with others. During CL process, AI can also support by helping students deepen their understanding, whether by clarifying ideas, generating follow-up questions, or seeking deeper explanation. In this way, AI enriches peer interaction rather than replacing it. So again, AI enriches peer interaction rather than replacing it. Ibu Bapak, ELT scholars, based on what we have explored, I offer 3 recommendations. Related to policy, we need to integrate CL more explicitly into ELT curricula, especially in teacher education, such as in this course. It is to ensure that future teachers not only fully understand CL, but also are equipped to apply the method effectively in their classrooms. Related to research, we should encourage more research on CL processes, particularly studies that explore how the method can be meaningfully integrated with emerging technologies. And this will help us build a stronger evidence-based foundation for innovation in ELT. With regards to practice, classroom practice, it is essential that CL principles are consistently present, because when these principles manifest, mewujud, mengejawantah dalam pembelajaran, learning becomes much more effective. To end my lecture, Ibu Bapak, I would like to say that before we can light the way for others, we must first learn to illuminate ourselves. And that's how CL operates. One more time, before we can light the way for others, we must first learn to illuminate ourselves, and that's how CL operates. These are the references that I use in today's lecture. So that's the end of my lecture, Ibu Bapak. Thank you for your attention and for thinking about our pedagogies with me. Let's have a conversation. Back to Ibu Febby, our moderator.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Puji Astuti, for that incredibly insightful and thought-provoking presentation. So you have given us a lot to consider regarding the future of English language teaching. And distinguished guests and participants, we will now move on to the question and answer session. This is your opportunity to engage directly with our speaker. As a reminder of the rules mentioned earlier, you may type your questions into the chat box, or if you wish to ask your questions directly, please use the raise hand feature. And I will begin with the audience who will be asking questions directly. Please raise your hands and open the camera and microphone. And please mention your complete name and where you are from. Okay, you can raise your hand.
Or perhaps dropping the question in the chat.
Okay, so we have one participant for questioning. Okay, Ibu Armilia Sarigani, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, Professor. My name is Amelia and I'm from Bogor. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for the insight. It really means a lot for me as a teacher. I have two questions actually. I have been using the CL method to teach my class, and now I'm teaching in a vocational school in Bogor, and I've been using this method, and I think it's very, very much useful. Sometimes I found difficulties in encouraging some of my students. My questions are, the first is about how many students should be involved in one group to say that the number of the student to be involved in one group is actually effective enough to do the CL. That's the first. And then the second is that how can we monitor, or how can we say that, oh, this CL is actually working for this group, or this group is not working, or that group is not working? How is the standard of we see that the CL is working or not? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibu Amelia from Bogor. Oh, I love Bogor. Especially Kebun Raya Bogor. I like to take a long walk at Kebun Raya Bogor. Okay, thank you for practicing CL in your classrooms, Ibu. And you got two questions. How many students is recommended for an effective group, right? My question is based on research, Bu Amelia. It is four people in one group. Yeah. Why four? So imagine that you initiate or you start your lesson by using Think Pair Share, in which your students work in pairs, right? And when it comes to the next activity and you want to use round robin, for example, or round table, so you can just put these two pairs into one group consisting of four. So it's easier to move around using one technique to the next. Talking about the next one, how do we monitor the CL processes? How do we know that our implementation is effective, working effectively? So let me share with you questions that I carefully crafted so that we can use them, and then we can put yes or tick next to each question, and you can use these questions to assess the quality of your CL, whether it is effective or not. So let me find the list of questions first. Please wait a moment. So I have shared with you the first 3 questions related to individual accountability. So I have posted them in the chat. Moving on to questions around positive interdependence, Bu Amelia. They're also in the chat box as well. And then the next 2 questions are related to equal participation there. And then the last questions have to do with simultaneous interaction. So again, I have carefully crafted these questions to help us assess the quality of our CL implementation. I hope they're helpful, Bu Amelia.
Yes, Professor, thank you so much for the answers.
Yeah.
And I think one of the challenge here is that the example that you showed us is actually a cooperative learning, which is done by real speaker students. In Indonesia, the other thing is that we need to motivate them to go. Yeah, so I think it will be another case that we need to let's say motivate the students there to speak. Okay, thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you, Bu Amelia. Keep on implementing CL in your classes.
Yep, Bu.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Amelia and Professor Puji Astuti. Now, I'd like to pick a question from chat box. Actually, it is related to Ibu Amelia's question. How do we organize the student speaking so all students have their own opportunities to speak and deliver their ideas? It is from Mr. Ramli.
Okay, thank you, Bu Febby. Thank you, Pak Ramli, for the question. How do we ensure equal participation in our CL groups? Ibu Bapak, the other name of CL technique is CL structure. So the word structure suggests that the steps are carefully designed, carefully designed that CL principles are there when we follow the steps, when we follow each of the steps. So my suggestion is that we carefully read the procedures of any CL technique that we want to use in our classroom, and with humility, dengan kerendahan hati, begitu ya Ibu Bapak, kita mengikuti steps-nya one by one. With such humility, we are ensuring that CL principles manifest atau mewujud. If the principles manifest, then students will get an equal opportunity to speak, to participate in their group. So that's my answer, Bu Febby.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Professor Puji Astuti, and I hope Mr. Ramli can understand what you have explained. Now we can move to another question from Bapak Fenli R. Matoneng. Okay, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity given to me. Especially thank you for the professor giving the materials. I have some questions concerning with the CL that you have delivered. The first question is about what is the difference between cooperative learning and collaborative learning? Is there special difference or not? And the second is about what is said by Mrs. Amelia just now. Sometimes the manifestation of CL can happen or it manifests when we have teacher preparedness, well, as you said before. But one more thing that is very important for me is about students' motivation. As you know, I am teaching in a rural area, and I really face difficulties in teaching students where they have low motivation. I ever did this CL, and when I give a chance or opportunity to them to talk each other, to share, many of them are just silent. So if they have low motivation, I assume that these techniques cannot be cannot manifest well. Okay, and last question is about the context or the condition of students. Is there any certain condition where the CL can happen well? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bu Febby, I answer the questions right away, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
time is
Alright.
yours, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. Pak Fenli, Bapak mengajar di mana?
Di SMK.
SMK?
It's from Central Sulawesi.
Oh, Central Sulawesi. Okay, Central Sulawesi. Okay. Thank you for trying to implement CL in your classes, Pak Fenli. I really appreciate that. So let me respond to each of your questions. The difference between CL and collaborative learning. I have stated earlier that individual accountability is what makes CL from collaborative learning or non-CL groups, Pak Fenli. So in CL groups, students are required to make a public performance or more, and they are required to interact. And I can say that these two requirements are not there when we talk about collaborative learning, when we talk about non-CL groups. Question number 2, how to promote students' motivation, how to prepare students so that they are motivated in learning through CL. That was the second question, right, Pak Fenli?
Yes.
Well, Pak Fenli, Bu Febby, and Ibu Bapak, my personal belief is that we gain motivation or we get motivated through actions, through repeated action, committed action. So that said, I can say it's like taking a medicine, Pak Fenli. Kalau kita ke dokter ada keluhan, biasanya dokter memberikan resep yang tidak sekali minum ya, but beberapa kali sehari dan itu beberapa hari, let's say 4-5 days, right? I think that tells us something about the action. I mean, we believe in the action of taking our medicine, trusting the doctor that it would work and it would help cure our illness. So when we implement or when we use a particular CL technique today, we need to try it again the next day, or we use another CL technique the next day, so that our students are they're on the move. They take actions in their learning again and again. And I believe that way students will get motivated, not only to be responsible for their own learning, but be responsible to their classmates' learning. So, so we need to take the actions by implementing CL consistently or sustainably, Pak Fenley. Let's talk about the third question. How to condition our students so that CL can happen or can work well. That was the third question. Pak Fenley and Ibu Bapak, if our students are new to CL, belum kenal dengan CL, so I suggest that we use CL for team building purposes. Okay, team building purposes. For example, with TPS, Think Pair Share, kalau siswanya belum kenal, so we can use it to get them socializing or building interpersonal communication with each other. So instead of using questions that relate to the target learning materials, we can use or we can ask questions that have to do with our students' hobbies, what they like to do in their pastime. So it's all about knowing each other well. It's for the purposes of team building and class building. So again, use CL techniques for team building and class building before we use them for covering the target learning material. So I think I have responded to each of those three questions, Pak Fenley. I hope they help.
I think one more about the condition only in the classroom, the condition of students. I mean, is there any certain condition where we can or teacher can apply or implement the CL? Because there is in the stage of the CL, the students must share. It means that they have to know to speak English. So, can I conclude that CL only happen when the students know how to speak, let's say, even not too fluently?
Interesting. Thank you, Pak Fenley. In the case of TPS, Think Pair Share, the first phase is called Think, right, Pak Fenley?
Yes.
So it's an opportunity for our students to use the time for thinking, for rehearsing their mental, for preparing their language. So Think phase is crucial. And I can say that many CL techniques include think time in their design, in their procedures. So use the think time deliberately so that our students can use the time to prepare themselves before performance, before interaction. So think time is a condition for that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you for the insightful answer.
Thank you for the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fenley for the question and Professor Puji for the answers. Okay, now I'd like to pick some questions from chat box because we have some questions in the chat box, Prof. I will pick from Ibu Mariam Nufarida. Her question is, the video shows us the CL use a text as a media. Can we use song as a media? How does it work?
Okay. I guess this question is not so much about CL, but about learning materials. We determine materials to cover in today's session or today's class session based on our LO, right? Learning objective. So from learning objective, then we can determine the materials to cover today, for example. And knowing LO, knowing materials to cover, will help us to determine which CL technique that is suitable, that is helpful to help our students to attain or achieve the LO. So that's what I can say, Bu Mariam.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Prof. We move to the next question from Ibu Jelita. How can group project or presentation be graded fairly? Often higher performing students complain with, let me read the questions. Okay, often higher performing students complain when the overall result is poor because some group members contribute less or struggle more.
Okay. It has to do with grading or assessment, right? Bu Febby?
Yes.
Okay, Bu Jelita. My recommendation for fellow educators, for teachers, is that we do not use groups score or groups grade as individual score or individual grade. So when we implement CL, we can use the techniques for formative assessment, for doing formative assessment, but I go against using CL technique to assess summatively. So we don't use or take scores as students process in their CL setting. We don't use the score for summative assessment, but we can use the performance, our students' performance during CL setting as formative assessment. Formative assessment enables us to see or to assess whether the learning is achieved that day or not, right? And then inform us, formative assessment informs us whether the technique works well, whether the technique is suitable for covering a particular material. So again, I do not recommend using group grades as summative assessment.
Okay, so individual is better than a group. Okay, thank you, Prof. Next, we move to the next question from chat box. For Bapak Ibu who wants to ask the question directly, you can use raise hand feature. And now we can pick the questions from chat box first. From Bapak Oktosi, Ibu Oktosi, there are two questions. First, how can I limit the time in the learning process while using CL? Because it takes many times while I have big class, about 34 students in a class. And the second question, when the teacher uses CL in the classroom, how can the teacher assesses while learning process?
All right. Thank you for the questions, Ibu Oktosi. Let me address each of them. Talking about time allocation for during CL implementation, especially when the class is big, it takes commitment for everyone in the class regarding the time allocation for each activity. So I spoke to Pak Fenley just now, talking about team building and class building, as well as think time. So we need to train our students to be responsible in processing or in completing the task. When we say they can process round robin in 5 minutes, then we need to keep the time management in check. When we say 5 minutes, then we keep our words that the round robin activity is done within 5 minutes, for example. I guess as our students get experience in learning in CL setting, they build this sense of responsibility with regards to time management. So what I'm trying to say is that as time progresses, as our students are more and more familiar with CL, they will have time management in check. So that's my answer for the first question. The second one, I think I have responded to the issues of assessment when I talked to Ibu Mariam. So I don't think I need to say more about assessment.
Okay. So we are still waiting for next questions for Bapak Ibu. You can write your questions in the chat box or you can raise your hand. So actually I have a question, Prof. Can I?
Of course,
Okay,
Febby.
of course. Okay, so related to cooperative learning, how can cooperative learning be adapted for students with different levels, different proficiency levels in the same classroom? Maybe some of them feel inconfident, not confident to speak, still shy. So it makes them difficult to communicate with each other.
Okay, great question, Bu Febby. Dealing with students different levels of proficiency, right?
Yes.
Today's lecture is entitled Urip Iku Urup, or to live is to give light to others. So as teachers, we have data regarding our students' varying levels of their proficiency, right? So that information, the data, should help us to do grouping. We group our students in heterogeneous. Do I pronounce it clearly? Heterogeneous groups, meaning that students with different levels of proficiency work together. And we need to educate or train our students to understand that our life outside class is colorful, right? I mean, we meet people from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic status, and that understanding we bring to our classroom so that they accept, they value the diversity, and they know that by tutoring or by helping their group members, they also build their confidence, build their proficiency as well. So instilling in our students the idea of urip iku urup, or to live is to give light to others. The idea that the more you give, the more you get.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof.
Mhm.
Now we move to implement it in class of very beginner level students. Is it possible?
Okay. Okay, Bu Febby, it's raining in my place. Can you still hear me okay?
Okay.
Oh, okay. All
It's
right.
clear.
All right. So the question is about whether we can implement CL with young learners or
very beginner level
students.
students.
Oh, okay. In terms of their proficiency. Yeah. Okay. I can tell you based on my studies and my experiences of using CL in my own classes, we can use CL for any age group, for any proficiency level. So go ahead, use CL techniques with students, primary students, middle school students, high school students. CL works well at any age group classroom. So go ahead. We can start by using less complicated CL structures or CL techniques, Bu Febby and everyone. Think Per Share is a good example of CL technique that is not as demanding or challenging or complicated as Jigsaw, for example, or numbered heads together. That's why the video that I have shown you, the video about Think Per Share, it's used in classroom of young learners, right? So that technique is not as demanding and suitable for primary students.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So we can implement this technique into any levels.
Yes.
Okay. Now we move to the direct questions from Mr. Rudy Umardani. Mr. Rudy Umardani, time is yours. Please unmute, Mr. Rudy.
Is my voice audible?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the given times. I'm one of the alumni of the Open University. I'm very glad to attend this virtual forums focusing on the CL, but I do not start to have this course at the very beginnings because right now I'm still on the duty out of the towns, and I'm so much interested to advance my competence dealing with the teaching and learning process, focusing on the foreign language, the English lesson. As we know that a language is to practice, and then we cannot neglect about the chemistry, the teacher and the students. We need to reveal the mysterious psychological aspects, in this case, chemistry. How about the closeness or the proximity between the teacher and the students? As we know that the teacher is truly a role model for the students' achievement. My question is over here. I do not have looks very in details about the videos as shown, but my questions, how about right now, about how to know about the role of the psychological aspects, psychological treatments through the use of the speech act, locutionary, locutionary acts that will that will facilitate us as the teachers, give the easy points for the students get involved, such as in 5 stages of the 5 stages right now, such as the first engagement, and then after engagement, explorations, explanations, and then elaboration and evaluation. And then there is a challenge, Ibu Puji, right now we need to face the era of the implementations of the STEM. And then accidentally, I found one of the web-based learning sources New Zealand is providing about the STEMs included, integrated with the text in English. So I want to know about the role of the psychological aspect, Bu. Psychological aspects such as the speech acts. I'm really sure whenever we are going to teach for the young learners will be completely different from the teenagers or the adults in terms of the way how we are going to facilitate them to learn not the second language, but in effect, English is still a foreign language, regarded like a foreign language in Indonesia. That is the fact. I think that's all. Thank you very much, Bu, in advance.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Rudy. I am giving you a disclaimer that I might not be able to address each points in your question, but what I do get from your description and question is regarding the psychological aspect of teacher-student rapport during CL. Okay.
Yes. All right.
What I approach, how I approach that is that when it comes to learning materials, when it comes to the materials that we have to cover, we have to build a good rapport, close relationship with our students. But other than that, I do not practice building relationship with my students with the other aspects, especially aspects in their life. So I try to build a close relationship with my students when it comes to covering or learning the target materials. But other than that, I don't think I have the time to build relationships with my students, especially when they come to me and have problems outside the classroom. So that's how I approach, or that's how I understand psychological aspect with regards to student-teacher relationship, rapport. How about teacher-student relationship or interaction during CL? I think I can say something about that, especially when we talk about young learners. I think you talk a little bit about young learners, right, Pak Rudy?
Yes. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So we know that CL techniques or CL structures have procedures or steps. So when we teach young learners, we make sure that the instruction or our classroom language for each step should be clear, should be made friendly for our young learners. For example, think, pair, share. I'm using that technique again and again. I'm referring to that technique again and again because in my lecture today, I show everyone a video of think, pair, share. So we need to carefully craft, carefully prepare the classroom language or English expression that accompanies each step, Pak Rudy. So what we will say when we want our students to think, because think is the first phase of think, pair, share. So to create psychological safety in our classroom, especially dealing with young learners, we have to prepare suitable classroom language for the think phase. Moving on to the pair phase, what we're gonna say to our young learners when we want them to interact with their partner. So I guess the classroom language used in our young learners' classroom would be different from the classroom language we use when we teach middle school or high school students, even not to mention university students. So by carefully select suitable classroom language that accompanies CL procedures, then we are creating this safe psychological space for our students.
Okay, and then what about your opinion, Bu, about the STEM? Because there is the challenge right now, especially for most of the English teachers, we are actually urged to relations integrated with our lessons right now.
Okay. I don't
How
have
about
STEM.
if
I don't have STEM background, Pak Rudy, but I understand the situation where your question comes from. What I can say is that CL is part of active learning. CL can be used as a vehicle atau alat tool to implement active learning and deep learning. And active learning and deep learning are recommended for the teaching of STEM. So when we implement CL in STEM subjects or the integration of STEM in English subject, for example, we can say that we implement active learning and deep learning. So that's what I can say about STEM integration, Pak Rudy. When we implement CL, then we are supporting active learning and deep learning in the teaching of STEM.
I can underpin over here that all the things actually turns back to all of us as the the whole figures that we want to create our figure more interesting in front of our students' eye in terms of giving security psychologically over here, because all the things that we never think over and over may happens adversely. Sometimes we put our face frown will give a horrific sense to the students, rather than students will follow but under the pressure, rather than they are going to feel free to join our lessons. I think that's all. Thank you very much for your insight, Bu. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Rudy, for your question, your comment, your thoughts regarding CL, STEM, and psychological aspect or psychological factor in our pedagogy. Thank you.
You are welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rudy, for the question, and
My
Professor
pleasure.
Puji Astuti for the answer. Now we move to the to the direct question from Sukma Indarto. Ibu Sukma Indarto, time is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon all, special for our lecture, Prof. Astuti. Thank you for giving me the chance here. First time I would like to introduce myself. I am Sukmawati and I am an English teacher in a vocational from Lubuk Banggai, the same regency with Pak Febby, but different school. Okay, my question is, maybe because the limit time, how we do as a teacher, English teacher, in classroom when we are teaching the grammar to our students, teaching grammar, how we give the method, we give the technique to teach them and using the CL group. Thank you.
All right, Bu Sukma, thank you for the question. It's about the teaching of grammar. How do we teach grammar? Since this general lecture is about CL, then my answer is clear. Use CL for the teaching of grammar, right? Since CL requires students to interact with their peers, how about teaching grammar inductively? Are you familiar with inductive teaching of grammar, Bu Sukma? Are you familiar with inductive way of teaching grammar? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's not really directly to teach our students.
Okay, so when we teach grammar inductively, then we let our students explore the target grammar point by giving them examples, right? And then after their exploration, learning from examples, then we lead them so that they can generate the rule or the form, right? So we can use CL, or CL can accommodate the exploration. For example, we can use Jigsaw. In Jigsaw, we have expert groups, right? Let's say we have 4 corners, we have 4 expert groups, and each group will be responsible for generating a rule or a form. And then later in their home group, they will share with their home group members about the examples of sentences employing a particular grammar rule, and then they explain the rule or the form with their home group members. So it is through conversation with their group members that our students acquire atau memahami, mendapatkan the form and the function. Bentuknya seperti apa, penggunaannya seperti apa. So that's an example of the use of CL, in this case, Jigsaw, for the teaching of grammar inductively.
Thank you.
Do you get the point, Ibu Sukma?
Yes, Miss. Thank you so much for the explanation.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Sukma, and thank you, Prof. Puji Astuti, for the answer. And we have one question from chat box. How can teachers use CL in classroom with students having very low prior knowledge in English? The question is from Adriana Pansiang.
Okay. Thank you, Bu Febby, Bu Adriana. Ya, semoga she, Ibu Adriana ya, saya nggak salah. Okay. In response to that question, I think I have stated many times earlier that CL can be implemented untuk kelas dengan beragam konteks, including classroom that has students with various levels of proficiency, limited knowledge of English. So I have talked about in today's lecture that there are activities that indicate or promote individual accountability in cooperative learning. Those activities include performances of individual students in front of their peer or in front of their groups, in front of other groups, and to the whole class. And there is interaction or peer interaction between these performances, right? Let me go back to think, pair, share. When students do share, ketika mereka share to everyone in the class, they have passed or they have done the pair phase, right? Sudah berpasangan. And that is the moment for students to interact and use their mother tongue, their bahasa ibu, to prepare their next performance saat nanti diminta oleh guru untuk share. So the interaction here is an arena or a moment, a place for students with low knowledge of English, with low English proficiency to prepare for their next performance. So we need to make sure that students use the interaction moment or space to prepare for their next performance. Dengan begitu mereka yang belum fasih akan terbantu melalui interaksi ini. So that's what I can say. Bu Sukma.
Adriana.
Oh yeah, Bu Adriana.
Bu Adriana.
Bu Adriana.
Okay. So actually it is connected to motivation. Is it right, Bu? So the people who have low motivation can see her friends who have high motivation. So that's why they can be motivated later.
Right. So let's say, for example, you and I, Bu Febby, we work together as a pair during Think Pair Share. When I see you telling your answers confidently, I get motivated. I want to also perform as well as what Bu Febby does in front of me. I can also borrow your vocabulary, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Thank you, Professor Puji Astuti. Okay, so I have picked all the questions from chat box and also direct questions. And thank you to Professor Puji Astuti for answering our questions so clearly, and thank you to all participants for your active engagement and excellent questions. Due to time constraints, we must now conclude the question and answer sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our discussion session. So cooperative learning is English language teaching is an approach where students work in small groups to achieve shared learning goals. It promotes active interactions, helping learners to improve their speaking, listening, and comprehension skills. Also, this method builds confidence, responsibility, and social skills. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, on behalf of the organizing committee from the Universitas Terbuka Postgraduate School and personally as your moderator, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Professor Puji Astuti, M.Pd, Ph.D, for her valuable time and outstanding presentation. We are truly enriched by your insights. Our sincere thanks also go to Professor Dr. Maman Rumanta, MSc, Director of Universitas Terbuka Postgraduate School, for his welcoming remarks and support for this event. Big thanks to the committee of this public lecture event. Before we officially end the session, I'd like to invite everyone to turn on cameras for group photo to capture this wonderful moment together. Our organized team will organize you. So please open your camera. So our organized team will take a picture.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak dan Ibu, Prof. Puji, izin saya memandu berjalannya foto bersama ini. Dibantu juga oleh tim IT-nya. Saya bantu hitung ya. Di slide pertama, 1, 2, 3. Next slide selanjutnya. 1, 2, 3. Slide selanjutnya. 1, 2, 3. Selanjutnya 1, 2, 3. Baik, cukup. Terima kasih banyak Bapak dan Ibu. Izin mengingatkan juga untuk mengisi daftar hadir yang sudah dibagikan pada kolom chat Zoom, serta mengisi kuesioner tentang kegiatan kuliah umum pada siang sampai sore hari ini. Terima kasih banyak Bapak dan Ibu sekalian.
Thank you for organized team. And finally, thank you to all the participants for your presence, attention, and active participation throughout this public lecture. We hope you found the session beneficial and inspiring. Before we fully conclude, please pay attention to the following important information regarding the attendance list. The link for the attendance list, which is required for your certificate of attendance, will be shared in the chat box shortly. Please make sure to fill it out completely with your correct name and email address. Thank you once again for being with us today. We hope you found the session insightful and engaging. Don't miss our upcoming public lectures, proudly presented by the postgraduate program in English education at Universitas Terbuka. Wishing you a pleasant and productive afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Ibu Febby, Prof. Maman, Bu Maya, Ibu Widya. Thank you, Universitas Terbuka, for having me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Prof. Puji.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Thank you very much, Bu Febby.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, thank
Terima
you.
kasih banyak Prof. Puji,
Terima kasih
Ibu
banyak,
Febby.
Bapak Ibu.
Terima kasih banyak. Bapak dan Ibu mohon izin mengingatkan sekali lagi untuk wajib mengisi daftar hadir dan kuesioner ya sebagai syarat terbitnya sertifikat. Terima kasih banyak.
Okay, Ibu Febby and everyone, I'm leaving the room. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absennya ya Bapak Ibu, silakan Li, bagi yang sudah mengisi absen. Terima kasih banyak Bu Febby, Bapak Ibu mahasiswa MPBI, dan juga
Baik, dan juga Bapak Ibu alumni MPBI, terima kasih banyak sekali lagi dari kami panitia.
Terima kasih banyak Ibu. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ini patah terlalu berat. Oh, ini terlalu besar deh tekanannya.